Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for September 18th through 21st, 2020. Well, how are you doing? We are coming off of the very potent and powerful new moon in Virgo, trying to give us a glimpse through the matrix, through the delusions, to the bigger possibilities of what we are doing here in this Earth evolution. So, that new moon was in a really sweet trine with Saturn, and Saturn represents like our laws and rules and the man, karma, the old guard, time, limits, obstructions, obstacles. And in Capricorn, that's the structures, authority structures. Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, very strong energy. So, we're feeling right now Mercury in Libra in square to Jupiter. And we know these Capricorn planets, right? Jupiter right now, and then Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, all in those last degrees of Capricorn. So right now, Mercury squaring with Jupiter, and then in the next couple of days, it comes into a square with Pluto, and then it comes into a square with Saturn. Now, on the day it comes into a square with Saturn, which is the equinox, is also when it goes into retrograde shadow. And this is the powerful energy of the upcoming Mercury retrograde, that it starts on October. Sorry, I meant to write that down. It starts on October 13th and it goes until November 3rd, election day in the US. Very potent so what's happening is we're getting into this energy. And it's like starting a chapter that will really not be done until it comes out of shadow around November 19th, 20th. But this Mercury retrograde, the key hallmark energy of it is this Saturn square, because that's how it starts. It moves into shadow. And then when it turns direct, it stays for a whole week, the whole first week of November. Mercury in square to Saturn. Mercury's a pretty fast mover generally. So when it interacts with planets, it's kind of day or two, right? This retrograde. So this first square Saturn that happens at the equinox, which is when the sun moves into Libra, we're talking about balance. We got Mercury in Libra squaring up with these planets in Capricorn, which are talking about the changes that need to be made in our authority structures and the structures of our world. But Mercury in Libra wants harmony and peace. It wants justice too. But it's kind of this energy of like in Libra, kind of working so hard for harmony and peace that maybe losing connection to your truth, your voice, and who you really are. And this is on the table, humanity. Whoa, because we have been, and for thousands of years, it's all the way back to this whole story of control on the planet, started in Atlantean time. And this is what's on the table for us. And even ongoing after this acute period of time on the planet, the main energy around human evolution is whether or not we can take back our mind, our psychology, our mind, our thinking from the AI agenda. So this Mercury coming up in square with all of these Capricorn planets, and then Saturn. Saturn is like the manifest world, the laws and rules. It's the guardian of the threshold to the higher frequency vibrations. In Capricorn, it's like, oh, no, you don't. Are you ready? Can you handle it? And the Libra energy says, it's okay. It's cool. Let's make this work. Let's do this. Let's keep the peace. Let's keep the harmony. And the problem is that with all these planets in Capricorn, with Pluto and Capricorn, it's like, this is about a change and a breakdown. And at some point, that delusion has to fall, because right now we're being shown what's happening around the world is showing us very clearly that we have been under the control of control energies, global control energies. And so, but so many still aren't seeing it. And it's like, what needs to happen before we have this? Because at some point, we want to keep the peace. We want this ascension process to be harmonized, right? That's a beautiful thing. And that's a big part of why the supernova soul's on the planet, is to harmonize this experience. But sometimes, choosing harmony and peace again and again is like just, also saying yes to the mind control. And so we're in this really strange place because this Mercury retrograde is going into Scorpio. Mercury will go into Scorpio. That happens, moves into Scorpio at the end of the month, and then we'll take a retrograde. So it'll go 3 times over the beginning of Scorpio and the end of Libra. And then when it turns direct, a whole week for the elections in the US of Mercury square Saturn. So this first hit of Mercury square Saturn is really, really important. But then Mercury moving into Scorpio, it's a very different energy. And 3 times over that first part of Scorpio, because Scorpio wants to uncover the truth. Scorpio wants depth and meaning. And that's the deal. It's like when we are complicit and choosing, a false peace in order to keep the peace, to keep the harmony. And along with that comes the shutting down of our voice. And so we're in this weird place because Mercury's challenging us and telling us that we have to free the mind in order to get anywhere. And this is kind of the weird place that supernova souls are at because of all the experiences you've had. That's the definition of a supernova soul. It's like an umbrella term for all advanced souls that have already gone through spiritual ascension and previous evolutions. So you're here to lead the way in spiritual ascension. And because of your experiences in other realms and other evolutions, you've already dealt with this mind control thing. So you're not as susceptible. And that's why life is so weird for you right now, where it's like, you can't even have a rational conversation. How do you have a rational conversation with a deranged mind that refuses to see the truth that is right there in front of them? Because it's like all the very most difficult truths that are so, it's like, this has to happen before we can get anywhere. So this Mercury retrograde is kind of like, it's challenging our desire for equanimity and choosing to stay asleep to the truth versus the power of the truth and the power of life and the power. Scorpio wants like a real experience, to go deep and to find the truth and to have a real connection, a real kind of, passion, intensity. And you can't do that while you're playing nice a lot of times, right? So we're in this weird place because this Mercury retrograde season moving into, for this next 6 weeks, so incredibly powerful time. We're definitely getting the message as the supernova soul, like this is one of those crucial times. It's a constant vigil. Make your spiritual truth reality every moment, because that's part of mind control. They want to take that all away. Constant distraction from what really matters, And then, oh yeah, no, that's not even really real. And we have a plague of souls that are stuck, that haven't been able to fully go back to source because, this long-term agenda to keep us identified with the physical and the physical body. And this is like an everyday thing where the conceptual energy is like, distraction, no, over here, all this garbage, all this noise, all this energy, and that's what's real. And just get all your emotional energy all invested in it, right? And it's like the supernova soul right now, you are here to lead the way. And that's like, so what's happening is that there is a required, so I'm seeing this picture of the control energies and the mind control, which is basically, a lot of like, there's word on the street that's the big deal we're going to have to deal with, is this like mind control energy ongoing, even after we set the planet free, the fam. And so, but those control mechanisms are artificial. They break. They run out of money. They have to use constant resources, constant attention to keep these artificial mechanisms that are holding back our spiritual ascension. The lower matrix vibration, technological control, So these energies of alien technology that is used for mind control on multiple levels, like we can't go into it right here, but we started actively working with that energy in the time of World War II. Like that's how Hitler was able to pull off, or the forces behind him, pull off the whole genocide energy. And this is what's going on. This is the only thing that makes sense why people are just acting so insane right now and can't have a rational discussion, can't look at facts and truth, can't actually self-reflect towards, it's like everybody's clinging on to that status quo to like just hold on for dear life, in the masses. And you supernova souls, you've broken apart a bunch of times. You've done the spiritual ascension thing. Damn well you are not your physical body, and that's why you feel so alone. That's why you feel so not welcome on this planet. And yet that's why you're here as well. And the supernova soul needs to start celebrating this, because the energies of ascension, they're organic, they're getting stronger, and they're not going anywhere. They can't break. They're trying to like dampen it down and block out the sun with its big activation that's trying to happen right now with a whole bunch of wildfire smoke in the most activated place on the planet, the Western US, right? But those energies aren't going anywhere, and they're only going to get stronger, and it's going to boomerang. So your job as a supernova soul is to catch these first wave of these ascension energies and let that be real in your life, but it's hard because there's so much mechanism of control. And so this Mercury in Libra is challenging our complacency and asking us, what is true harmony, right? Is harmony when you sit there and shut up and you just kind of go along with the program? I know we're all forced to do this right now. We can't take our precious spiritual light energies towards the battle on the lower battlefield, right? We have to hold the vibration. We have to make it true in our psyche every moment of the day and seek out the people. It's getting very clear right now, this, black and white of people who are awake or choosing to be asleep, right? Seek out those people. And because when you're with these people, it's like you can create, when two or more come together, you can create a whole different world. And it's our job to grab a hold of these energies, because the deal is that these ascension energies, these higher frequencies coming in, they're in our DNA, but they're being activated by the sun and trying to be blocked, but they are that's what true, if we want true harmony and peace, like the new earth energies in the Aquarian age and the higher octave of the Aquarian age where we're trying to go, that's like so much more harmonious than what we're experiencing right now, right? And all of us are individually coming to the place where we have chosen to, because it's like, okay, this huge energy of Mercury in Libra, but we also have that Chiron in Aries, and Mars in Aries, and Mars taking that retrograde. And it's like, ooh, so Mercury's out there being like, it's cool. Let's just put a Band-Aid on. It's all right. We'll figure this out. We'll make it work. Just everybody just stay calm. And, that's a really good energy on some level. But at some point you have to face the delusions, and they have to break. Otherwise, you cannot move into those higher frequency vibrations. So we're all facing this. We're all facing relationship patterns coming up, huge. And that's kind of the core theme, is where we haven't been who we are, where we've gone along with everybody else's program. The narcissist wants to like fit you into their little world, and you can be the little sliver that, they allow you to be. And that's exactly how the overall control energies have operated as well. So it's like, no, this is who you are. No, this is who you are. You're broken. You're traumatized. You're worthless. You can't function here. And it's like, no, you are the hope and the truth and the light and the way. And the fact that you're in this crazy place where you feel like you're on your own planet means it's validating this, right? So we had to come together energetically and just very deliberately hold this other vibration. It's right there. And by us validating this within our own being, that's part of the energy too, right? In these relationship patterns is that the supernova soul has been often targeted in past lives, in this life. And so it becomes a life or death situation to have people like you and validate you, you know? And it's like, that shit can't go on anymore because you gotta stop it up. You know, you gotta kick into gear. This is your time. And it's like, it's invisible. This energy is affecting the collective, but it's invisible to them. But you can feel it and see it, and you can grab a hold of it. And we have to hold this energy, this vibration in our heart, in our cells, know that we have the codes in our DNA. Block out the sun all you want. Take our oxygen. We'll breathe prana. You know, these control mechanisms are also of the physical reality, and they will be breaking. And we're moving to the more free, more true harmony, more true peace, you know, and that's where it's like, you know, that harmony in relationships and situations where it's like, ooh, but there's a big elephant in the room. And, you know, as a supernova soul, so often you see the truth, but you can't speak it because it just causes problems. It's just not worth it, right? You know, and yet until that issue is dealt with, that elephant in the room, you can't have true harmony and peace. You can only have fake. And this is kind of the energy we're looking at. It's like enough fake, enough of this fake narcissist, fake world, fake this. And it's time for us to put our attention, our vibration, and our whole self into the invisible and make it real. You know, some part of you knows, you know, and it's your time to grab a hold of the first wave of ascension energies. Imagine taking them into your cells, awakening your DNA codes, and being like, yeah, I'm going to hold a different paradigm. Like, I'm just here to do that. And it's hard because then I get the picture of when you're really, you know, we've all had this experience where you've had some time to yourself, or you've been in nature, you've been meditating, you've been just really in your groove, right? And then you go and have to be around the sheeple. And it's like, you know, because their reaction to you, right? Because, and this is the Scorpio deal. This is the Scorpio energy. It's like when you show up in truth and you're revealing their lies just by being who you are, not very comfortable, especially for the supernova soul who's been persecuted in past lives. So, but this is the deal, because we know that our evolution cannot get anywhere until we have, you know, what breaks the delusion, what breaks the false programming and the lower matrix is truth. And we know that the truth is all out there if you want to go find it, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear. But apparently these have been blocked with like implants and programming and nanite technologies and toxins. And, you know, it's been a long agenda to disconnect us from our inherent power, which is our access to life force, which is that Mars wants to fight for that in Aries, but he's trying to figure out how to not get stuck in the lower battle, you know? So he's in this retrograde, pulling back, being like, oh God, right? And you get this feeling of like, well, I don't want to engage in the energies. I don't want to feed that shit, but this is just wrong. Get me out of here, you know? And so that's where we have to come back to but just like the strength of that, like you're not going calling anybody out, you're not doing anything, you're just going to show up in your truth and not adjust to the lower vibrations anymore. And it maybe there's like a cleansing and a pain energy that will come cleanse out. You know what? See, the deal with this energy is coming in for the supernova soul is that it's bringing up all of your most traumatic lifetimes, and it's like taking you back to that place, a visceral experience of that on a cellular level in order to get out of those patterns for good, you know. But it's like also you can see the programming, you know, like part of what's revealing itself is this programming. Like you stand in your truth, people react to you, you go, ooh, they're coming for me now. But then it's like, oh, that's a program. This is a program that's like, I got sucked into the trauma. I got sucked into the responsibility, got sucked into this whole Maya delusion, lower energy story. But it's a story. And now it's time to step out of those stories. And so by revisiting these places, you are like just clearing everything that's keeping you in that lower matrix, right? And the reason why these are so strong and have clung to you so much, because it's like, oh my gosh, this is a program. This is something that was deliberately instilled in my psyche to keep me down in these stories, to keep me scared of spiritual ascension, to keep me disconnected from my power. And like, this is the game over on this lower matrix vibration. We just got to get enough of us connected back into our full life force, stop feeding the matrix with our life force. No, it's our life force. And Mars wants to do this, but then we have that dilemma of like, how do you stand up for yourself without getting pulled into those lower stories? Whew. And then the picture I got was like, ooh, when you were standing up for yourself in those past lives, you were also standing up for other people, for humanity maybe that didn't really care they were standing up for them or not. So then we have our loyalty contracts and all the things that keep us. So we're just coming up against this, like, where are we resistant to the new energies, and what kind of programming is keeping us back? And this Mercury energy is very, very powerful from as we go in these next 6 weeks. And so that starts right now. We're just really in it because we feel Mercury square Jupiter, then square Pluto, then square Saturn over this next week. And so, we're coming face to face with where we've chosen complacency, how to get to true harmony. Can we use the fake harmony to get to true harmony? And that's kind of the magic of this time, is that we've had this disharmonious, insidious, evil, dark energy controlling our consciousness by doing dark acts on the planet. On the surface, it's like, it's okay, cool. It's like you can just live life. But then as a supernova soul, you're like, no, something's seriously wrong. We got to deal with this. Like, how do we even exist on a planet where this shit's going on, And so now it's being shown to us. And that's maybe the message here for the supernova soul. Take it off your plate. You've been holding this in your psyche. You've been trying to process. You've been trying to clean. You've been trying to heal. You've been trying to save the people, through your whole lifetimes, all your lifetimes. It's time to take that off your plate and move in, just make this leap and be like, whew. That thing where sometimes we'll get pulled into a story and you'll find yourself, the old self, being like, oh, well, I should probably try to fix this or help or heal or whatever, and then it's like, there's a part of you that goes, whoa, this is not my problem. And that's kind of the deal. Your problem is giving yourself permission to get out of the problems. And enough is enough. And so this is the dance over this next 6 weeks, because the Scorpio energy and the Libra energy, very different. And yet, how beautiful to recognize that you are here to harmonize this experience. And that happens by allowing yourself to receive these first waves and to embody them and to seek out those connections because when those two supernova souls or more come together, it's like you can create this other, you can make that real, this Shambhala. It's right there. We know it's there. And so as we validate it, and of course, then there's that difficult thing where we've been waiting around for this world to validate it, our family, our friends, or, like society. It's not going to happen. And it's like that's our constant vigilance, is constant validation of the truth of this new earth energy, this ascension energies. It's not going anywhere. Nothing can stop what is coming. And so stop stopping yourself. I mean, easier said than done, right? But it all comes back to this place of whether or not you can give yourself permission. And we've all been super programmed with fear and this whole deal of it's not even real and this is all your problem to fix down here. And so we got a lot to sort through, but that's what these energies are about. says, come on, let's do this. And so really potent. I hope you'll consider joining me. I will get a video out about this, these equinox energies, because when that sun moves into Libra, it's that perfect balance point. And that's exactly when Mercury goes into retrograde shadow in square to Saturn, kind of a foreshadowing energy of that first week of November. And we want to get on board with the harmonizing energies and the facing truth and being real energies of Scorpio as well. So that we're going to do a soul group session, which is a group intuitive session. And we go deeper than the activations, go into shared past life pictures and get more contract clearing and stuff like that. So I hope you'll consider joining me. That's going to be on Monday evening, I believe, in Mountain Time in the US. So potent time, be in your lodge, in your vigil, be present to the truth of who you are, which nothing here can validate. And know that it's time for you to shine. Okay, so hang in there. I love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.